It's a question everyone from CEOs to economists want an answer to. How has inflation impacted consumer spending habits? Well, Senior Vice President of Life and Health Insurance at USAA, Chris Flint, has a new survey that may provide some answers. Good to see you, Chris. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. So I want to take a look at some of this data. We've seen that data from the survey shows that 70% of military connected and 59% of civilians worried about inflation reducing their spending power in retirement and or their life insurance plan. How concerned should they be in this environment?
Yeah, well, we know inflation's real. It's affecting consumers and certainly affecting our members across the U.S. and those that are serving abroad. But this survey really focuses on how prepared are both our military-connected families and civilians.
And so when you look at that preparedness, then how divergent is it between civilians and military-connected families, and what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, we see a significantly higher level of financial preparedness within our military-connected families from our general civilians. And one of the benchmarks that we look at specifically is around if the survey respondent were to die today, are they confident that their family would remain financially secure? And we found that 84% of military respondents felt that they would be able to maintain a lifestyle for their families in the absence of them being the primary income earner versus 71% of our civilian population. So almost a 12, 13% improvement or increase in the military over our civilian population.
And it's hard enough to talk about money, let alone when it's, sort of tied to things like your own mortality with things like life insurance. But as you define preparedness, what does that entail?
Well, we look at specifically if you had debt, right? When we're thinking about life insurance, if you had debt, do you have enough resources to cover that debt in the event that you're no longer here as the primary income earner? And would you be able to replace your income for 5 years going forward? So that's a key indicator whether our survey respondents, our military-connected families, our civilians are financially prepared for an unplanned death.
And what does having life insurance, what does that actually do in terms of the health of your finances that then you're passing on and what it does for generational wealth?
Yeah, well, it does a lot, right? If you think about life insurance, its first objective is really to protect the families, their lifestyle, their legacy, in some cases, funding educations and sort of that next generation's needs as the bereaving family is dealing with the emotion and impact of losing an important one and a primary income earner.
And I want to ask you what you see as the biggest hindrances to people really getting better financially prepared. And what are some steps that people can take, especially if they're looking at their 401k, they're seeing these market swings, wondering, should I take out? Because in your survey, it's showing that people haven't quite tapped into their retirement and savings yet.
It's a great point, Rochelle. So when we looked across our survey respondents, well, the majority, more than half, had said they were cutting back on their discretionary spending. Less than 20% said that they were going to cut back or are cutting back on things like retirement planning, insurance planning, and even cybersecurity and planning around the risk you have online there.
Well, certainly preparedness, certainly the word of the day. A big thank you for joining us, Chris Flint. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.